Welcome to another unit in this Access course. This time I'm going to talk about how we can actually restrict what a user of our database is going to be able to see. Well, why should we do this? There's two main reasons. The first is if we just open one of these tables, it's more functionality over design. So this might not look as nice to be working with. That's one reason. The other much more important reason is not every user should have access to all the information, should be shown all the information. And that's where the forms can help us a lot. Well, how do we generate these forms or work with these forms? We could go to Create. Then we have here all the table parts, queries, and next to it are the forms. We have form where we just generate a base form following a relatively simplistic default version, or we could use the form wizard or the form design, which allows us to make it a bit more nicer. In either case, I'm going to start with the form wizard, which shows me up here all the tables or queries I could select from, and then later which fields are available. So in this case, I could, for example, decide I'm just going to use those three, but not anything else. I could even later on, once I connected them, select up here a different table and enter fields from the other table as well. But as I said, they need to be connected. And at this point, we didn't actually go into this into more detail. So at this point, I'm just going to work with fields from one of the two tables. If I click Next, I can select the basic layout. So should it be column-wise, more tabular? Do I want to have something like an Excel structure, which is more or less what it looked like before, or what he calls justified, so everything arranged one after the other. Well, let's have a look at the first one, at the columnar. Then I can select a title for this form. Let's call this Sales Team Nice version. And down here we can select Open the form to view or enter information. So I can directly use it as is, or I can first change the design. If I just click on Finish, that's how the users would actually see something like this. So here I could either enter new people into the data bank, or I can view the information. And down here I see I'm at record 1 of 2, so I can switch to the next one. Here and back, I always see only one entry. If I go to the third one, this is a new one. So here I can also add new information. For example, Hans Meyer, he's like 32. Then I have a third entry. Could go to the fourth or back to the other ones. The interesting thing, if I just close this and open the original sales file, he uses all the information from the same form. So the form is just a different version of working with the table itself. It just looks different. Well, we could say it looks a bit nicer. If I'm not happy with the format, I could also switch from form view to layout view, and then I can make changes to it. Here we can see all the different changes which are possible. So I could add, fixed text. I could enter or add also images which are viewed, like logos for my company. I could use drop-down lists to select something, also for some of the content. Well, so I have a lot of different versions which I can use to actually first off restrict what is the user of the forms going to see, and in which way is it actually presented. And this looks much nicer already than the original version. And this is without me doing anything at all. So I now could, for example, decide also on the themes or the colors, to go more into corporate design and make it look like this is our particular database, and that's the way it's going to be presented to the people working with it. Of course, I could then also restrict access to the original tables and have my workers, my employees, just working with the form, only working with those forms and those views which they should be seeing. So they only get access, reading, writing access to those parts which actually matter to their specific position. Well, that's already everything I wanted to mention with regard to generating forms. Well, it does not go into so much detail, but it gives us already a good idea what forms are for and how I can generate relatively simple first versions of a form. Well, that's, as I said, everything there's going to be in this session, so I hope you enjoyed it. I say goodbye and see you next time.